Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we have arrived for our servicing mission here. And we're still a little far away. Actually, let's point at the target. And I'm going to... Okay, we're already thrust limited down to 0.5%. Looks good. I just want to move in ever so slightly closer. It doesn't need to be much. So I'm throttling us up very, very, very slightly here. Just until we can see the retrograde marker. Okay, let's move this to relative velocity minus. We're going to warp in a little ways here, because this is going to take a little while to get closer at this speed. So that looks okay. Little closer. Okay, this'll do for now. How is this relative velocity minus? Okay, I guess it's up over here at this point. Sure. That's fine. So let's pull this back down to 0.0. That'll be good enough. And we'll put ourselves in kill rot. And then Billy Bobcat is going to hop out over here. Now, I'm not going to use Kerbal Attachment System for this. I'm going to use Kerbal Construction. I didn't bring a screwdriver for one thing. I don't know if we need one for this, but we would not need one in Kerbal Construction mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this guy here, and we're just going to place it in space out over here. And then we're going to grab it, and we're coasting for the time being. Don't want to hit that solar panel. Okay, I'm just going to place it out in space again. There we go. And I don't want to be going this much up, actually. Let's go a little bit down. There we go. So now that we've got this, we just need to attach this somewhere. I don't think it really matters so much where it goes. I'll just put it here. So that looks good. We've now got an antenna on there. And now we can head back because I just want to put an antenna on our fuel bus here. I guess we could say our fuel tanker. That's the term I'm looking for. Excellent. So we're going to come back over here. Don't want to break the solar panels if we can help it. And I do see that we've picked up a bit of a tumble from that previous weld. That's understood. I'm not terribly concerned about it. Let's just hop on over here. Don't want to break the solar panel. Okay. I'm just going to slap this guy right about here. And we'll call that good. That's all we needed. So at this point, we just want to head back to our craft. And we're going to recover these guys, and then we will do some additional work. Oh boy. Add animation lock almost caused us problems there. But we're good. Okay, so let's board this, and now let's go to orbital retrograde at this time. And I want to hop over to this, and I'm going to put this on kill rot. Monoprop off, please. Just kill rot. There we go. Okay, so this is retrograde, which is kind of perfect. So we're going to throttle on up here, but note how we are in a position right now where we're not getting a lot of speed. I just want to leave this where it's at until we get a little distance here. And yeah, this is crackening a little bit. I'm not shocked about that. It'll unload here in a moment. Okay, let's go ahead and crank up our thrust. Beautiful. And at this point, we're on our way in. So where are we going to come down? This is going to be an ocean landing for sure. That looks good. Let's go ahead and stow this. So we'll retract our solar panels. And let's just warp on in till we hit the atmosphere. Okay, so we are hitting the atmosphere now. We're just re-angling ourselves, and let's just burn off as much speed as we can from here. Okay, so we're going to physics warp as we burn through this. There we go. And now I'm going to jettison this. Perfect. And we're coming in pretty slowly. We're going to accelerate because we're quite high up in the atmosphere right now. But let's just bring Pabus and Billy Bobcat right on back home. We're in orbital retrograde. Let's be in surface velocity minus for right now. There we go. So we're still accelerating, and now we're decelerating. We're still 30 kilometers up. Now we're 20 kilometers up. Now we're 15 kilometers up. But our speed has reduced extraordinarily dramatically, and we can just get our ships out. We don't even need to separate these out. So that looks fine. No problem whatsoever. We'll just splash this right on down, recover it, and that's our servicing mission complete. Then, of course, we've got a couple of other missions that we need to do. I want to take our tanker ship out to Minmus. That is kind of mission number 1. Put it in a fairly low equatorial orbit around Minmus, and then I want to get a craft that is designed... The question is, do we want to... I'm just thinking here about how we want to do it. I think I know how we want to do it. So let's just splash this on down. We want to do it very similarly to how we have our base constructed on Duna, but I'm going to make a few alterations. Okay, so we're going to splash down here. Perfect. And we're going to recover this vessel. Our next mission is, I think, going to be setting up our mining operation on Minmus after we get our fuel tanker in position. So I think we're just going to have our module chill for right now in orbit, and we'll come back to that after we've got our fuel tanker set up, because we don't have enough fuel in that fuel tanker for another refueling if we need one. So I want to have that getting ready, right? So let's just hop on back here. And let's go into the tracking station. And we had determined last episode that we probably can't push these at the same time, or at least probably shouldn't. So let's see here. Here's the tanker ship. So we'll fly that, and then we'll undock these. I don't know if this is going to be called, like, tanker ship probe. It might be a little awkward. This is actually, of course, going to be the... What module is this? Ah, this is a smelter module. Right. So I want to undock this. It's very wiggly. No doubt about that. And we might have a bit of an impact here. We'll see. Yeah, we do. Okay, I'm going to use RCS. Hang on. We have a awkward control surface. Control from here. There we go. We're using monoprop to separate there. Excellent. That was an awkward control surface indeed. So this is, of course, the smelter module here. We'll put that in Kilrot, and let's see here. Vessel naming is currently smelter module. Okay, perfect. That is ideal. And then this is tanker ship. Okay. So that looks good. So we can see that the tanker ship has enough fuel to get itself to Minmus, that's for sure. And we want to absolutely do that. So we're going to need to choose Minmus, set that as our target, and we're going to need to... We're right here right now? Okay, so we're going to need to do an inclination change, 9.4 degrees, which is absolutely fine, and that is the other direction. 0.3... 0.2, 0.1, and 0.0. Okay, we'll lock to that node. And we'll get ourselves set up for this. 375.5 meters per second. We've still got plenty of fuel, so no issue whatsoever there. Let's go ahead and warp forward towards this. This will be 12 minutes. So that's 100x. So we'll get through this relatively quickly. Not as quickly as we necessarily could have, but we're now about 1 minute away, and we're not right on this angling. So I'm just going to physics warp. We're still not right on the angling. Head to the node. Apparently, we don't want to head to the node. Oh, we have no probe control. We must not have power. Yeah, we ran out of power. That's the awkward thing about this guy. But we have power now, so that was lucky timing, and there we go. This thing doesn't have a battery on it, and that is absolutely an issue. So I do want to check here. We are pulling fuel from here, which is awkward. I'm going to disable crossfeed, but we actually do want to pull this fuel. It's weird, but we do. But I want to be in control of when and how. So we're going to flow this fuel in like so. And we're going to pull the fuel like that. So we've got about another 40 seconds of burn time here. And I think that we're definitely going to burn out our fuel in that center core. Let's physics warp. We are not transferring the fuel now. Okay. And come out of physics warp. Flow the fuel back in. Perfect. So yeah, we're fully out of fuel there. Looks good. Overshot this a little bit. 1.2 meters per second. Is it fine? We don't have our target set. It's fine. 0.1. So let's add a maneuver sometime around here-ish. Probably a little later than this, right? Yeah, little later than that. So something more akin to... yeah, about that. What's that looking like? So that is a periapsis of pretty high, and I want to dial that in. So let's see if we can grab this maneuver again. Hello, maneuver. Hello, maneuver. Okay, we can't grab that maneuver. That's exciting. Now we can grab the maneuver. Can we grab it now? Because we need to be focused on min-miss, but also we need to grab the maneuver. So this could be exciting. It really doesn't want to let us grab this maneuver while focused on min-miss. There we go. Got it. Okay, so with that grabbed, now we just need to dial this in a little bit here. I'm wanting to target a prograde orbit, ideally, so that should be this direction, I think. And we want to target a fairly low orbit for it. Really. We could target like a 30-kilometer orbit. And then set our actual inclination to be, you know, maybe not this. That's not an ideal inclination for sure. But we could just dial it in a little bit and pull this back ever so slightly to be something like this. That's certainly more equatorial. I don't think it's perfect, but it's pretty close. So that's probably good enough. And then about 30 kilometers, about like that. So lock to that node. And that's going to be in about 4 minutes. So we'll just park ourselves out over in an orbit there. And we don't have to do the mining operation right away. The question is, how many refuels from the mining operation is it going to take to fill this monster? And I suspect the answer to that is a lot. So I think we'll probably hold off, actually, on making the mining operation on min-miss. I just want to park this there, and if we need it, then we can do it. So we have that idea in our heads, but for the moment, it's fine. So 3, 2, 1, 0, and mark. So we'll light up these engines, about 2 minutes and 25 seconds here. Wonderful. This is going to burn the majority of our fuel, but we want to hit this quite accurately if we can at all help it. So let's physics warp through a good chunk of it, but once we get to the back, like, quarter, maybe we should not physics warp. Certainly the last, like, 10%. Okay, so from about here, I'm not going to physics warp, and we'll just stay locked on the maneuver node. About 60 meters per second to go here. So we've definitely burned out the vast majority of our fuel, but it's going to take very, very little to maneuver around min-miss. So now we're just going to be more cautious. 7 meters per second. 5, 3, 2, 1, and okay. We're just letting this drift a little bit. I'm going to call that good enough. How are we looking? Well, that's a little awkward. This is not what we had projected at all. But we're coming in here exiting here, Minmus should be, well, actually, really being retrograde on Minmus doesn't really matter. So the real question is, this would be, yeah, this would be fine. Our inclination is going to be a little spicy, but I'm not terribly concerned about it. We can adjust our inclination once we get there, perhaps. But we're going to need to, of course, have this be relatively circularized. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a bit of an inclination. 168.8 meters per second. It's fine. That's not exactly what I was promised by the maneuver node, but it's okay. So we'll just position ourselves here. And yeah, that does drift on us a little bit. I'm not terribly shocked about that one. And we're going to warp on in. We're actually going this direction, right? We could flip this around. And I think we should. So I'm just taking us over to prograde, and actually it's retrograde. Okay. So over we go to retrograde, and we're just going to bring this right on back. That's quite sensitive. That's 20 kilometers. That's pretty close. I'm going to thrust limit us down to 0.5%, as little thrust limiting as we can have. And we're just going to slowly ease that up to about 30 kilometers. This is an okay inclination. This is about where we expected to be from the maneuver node. So we can add a maneuver here, and then that is going to be circularized. Would help if we actually circularized it instead of making a collision course. And we're just going to do something about like this. That's currently a 1 hour burn because of our thrust limiting, so let's just do that. And the question is, do we want to just manually warp this? That wasn't a bad change there, but it changed again? Okay, yeah, I'm just going to manually warp this. Okay, so we can see we've got about 5 days. I just don't want this to change too much on us, right? So 2 days. We're just waiting until we get into the sphere of influence now, and that should drop us out of warp. Okay, so we're in the sphere of influence at this time. So now what I want to do is I want to just put this guy right about here and adjust it ever so slightly. There we go. 36 kilometers, not necessarily exactly where I wanted it to go, but it'll be fine. Now that we're in the correct sphere of influence, we should be able to warp without it changing. Yeah, that looks good. So there we go. And we are ready to do this burn in about a minute. 50 seconds, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, about a 20-second burn to put us into orbit. I don't think we need to significantly adjust our inclination. It's not perfect, but it's fine. I think it's good enough. So that'll be absolutely a-okay. And let's just do this right about there. That'll do. That's good enough. So then over at the periapsis, I just want to circularize this back down to the 30 kilometers. This is, of course, where we were supposed to be before time warping changed our orbit. I dislike that bug a lot. It'd be really, really great if that bug did not exist. Okay, this is very sensitive here. Very, very, very sensitive. Wow. Just have to be very careful here. Okay, there we go. We'll lock to this node. And this is a 0.3 second burn. So let's go ahead and thrust limit this down to like 5% thrust, bringing it up to a 5-second burn. That's much more manageable. We'll warp on around. And we'll just leave this thing in orbit of Minmus for now. So that'll be a-okay. This warp is not very speedy. but it's... Sure, this is fine. Also, the stars are flashing a lot right now. I don't have an explanation for why that's happening. I don't know, maybe it's an NVIDIA thing, who knows. We're out of power at this moment, and that's awkward for us. We're not going to get power anytime soon. That means we can't throttle up. We can't do anything. Well, I guess we'll just leave this where it is. That's exciting, because this is not going to be changing anytime soon, where this is on the light side. Yeah, see, we're 10 minutes away at this point. It's not even worth burning at this point. I'll just leave it like this. This is good enough. So let's head back to the Space Center. We can always put an additional battery on this if we wanted to. In retrospect, we probably should have just brought one along on our servicing mission and installed at least a small battery, but this is fine. So we'll just get this set up here, and we need to have our smelting module start heading on out. Maybe this will be a better transfer window for it. I doubt it, but maybe it'll be a better transfer window. We can hope. So the smelter module is ready to go. Theoretically, anyway. The game is not responding at this moment, but it will. Just give it a moment. There we go. Okay, excellent. So here's the smelter module ready to go, and we are, of course, just going to head on out, I don't know, somewhere around here. We just want to push our way out of the system. We've got lots of DV in this. The refuel was probably not necessary, and this Mooner encounter is awkward for us. So I'm just going to change our timing on it. There we go, something like that. And I want to see what this is going to look like if we set, if we set Duna as our target, and we grab our maneuver node, hopefully. We're having difficulties with that, but we grab our maneuver node here, and let's see what ends up happening if we push this out. I think we're on the wrong side. Okay. So we want to have this be more like over here in like an orbit, or maybe like... Yeah, this burn is too late. So we would do this burn sometime around here, then. And yeah, we can see prograde is now pushing us out, away from the sun, out from this side. Oh my. Well, that's not an ideal scenario. We're just going to say it's probably not great timing. And we're just going to park it here. I'm going to assume it's not great. We can maybe mess with that a little later on. So we'll just do it here for now. We've got low thrust to weight. That's a whole thing, right? So let's go ahead and log to the node. Let's get into this trajectory, and then we can start thinking about whether we want to go for it or not. This poor reaction wheel. I gotta feel sorry for this reaction wheel. It's trying its best. No way around it. It is trying its best. And its best is not very good. So we're basically in position for this burn now, and we need to start the burn in about 24 minutes. So we'll warp on ahead. This is going to drift on us for sure, so we'll probably sit in physics warp after we are 1 minute away and let the poor reaction wheel get caught up a little bit. Checking our thrust and gimbal limit, they look good. So no issue there. Okay, so we're in 4x time warp now as we try to turn to this positioning. This is a really weird angle. Hang on, this is not right. Control from here. Okay. Let's change our timing on this. So I'm going to move this forward to be closer to the Terminator here, about there. And that buys us a little bit more time to turn, which is good because we're going to need it. And at this point, we might be able to check in on this. Yeah, this is much better timing for this. So if we were to do this transfer, we can see we'll be not actually getting an encounter here. Okay, there we go. There's an encounter. No. Get out of here. Ridiculous. Okay, so there we can see, yeah, this is not a good transfer window. I'm not surprised about that in the slightest. So let's just pull this right on back, and we'll just do this with a standard transfer. Sounds good. So we're still trying to turn to this position, but we do have a little bit of time to do so. And again, this is going to be a very long burn, and it is about time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that once we get this burn started, and I'm not going to make you sit through this whole 7-minute burn. It's going to be extensive. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and we've got 5 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. There we go. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.